I imagine, which means to stand. Panya Gudam means to turn and face the east. We're going to open up the Feast of Tabernacles with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Wadash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwat Ka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathalanawa, Lakam, Kal Yawam, Wasalakanawa, Kal Wathnawa, Kasalagnawa, Kal Wathinawa, Walaha, Tabayanawa, Vanasai 1, Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Raikaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Watha Parath, Lawalumium, Aman. The Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. The Akak, or the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Babu Koshai, Nathananawa Hakat, Hakat Larapa'ah, Kal Magala, Wakal Marawa, Hakat Latahar, Hamat Azarayim, Hakat Lakwayam, Hamathium, Hakat, Arakawa, Hatama'ala, Lagar Shun, Ba'ashem Yahushai, the Waraman, in English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power. The power to heal all manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahushai. Thank you, so be it. Psalms, the 121st chapter in Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahaharya, Mayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Wa'arataza, Al Yathan, Lamawat, Ragalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashan, Shamar, Yashala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al Yad, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakaka, Wayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal Rai, Yashamar, Athnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'athka, Wabat, Wa'aka, Ma'aitha, Wa'id, I will lump. All right. Psalms 121st chapter in English. I will lift up mine eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh. Which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yashala shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out, and thy coming in, from this time forth, and even forevermore. I'm going to read Psalms, the 83rd chapter in the Hebrew. Alahayim, Aldama Yalaka, Al Thakarash, Wa Al Thashakwat, Al Kayahana, Awayavyaka, Yahamaya 1, Ra'ash, Al Imaka, Ya'arayamwa, Sawada.
Sawada.
Wayatha.
Wayatha.
Ya Aitazawa.
Yaitazawa.
Altazapawanyaka.
Altazapawanyaka.
Amarwa.
Amarwa.
Lakawa.
Lakawa.
Wanakakyadam.
Wanakakyadam.
Magauya.
Magalia.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yazakar.
Yazakar.
Sham Yasha'ala.
Sham Yasha'ala.
Iwada.
Awada.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Nawa Aitazawa.
Nawa Aitazawa.
Laba.
Laba.
Yakadwa.
Yakadwa.
Alyaka.
Alyaka.
Baryath.
Baryath.
Yakarathwa.
Yakarathwa.
Ahawya.
Ahawya.
Adawam.
Adawam.
Wayashamai Alayam.
Wayamasha'ayla.
Mawa Abba.
Mawawa Abba.
Wahagaryam.
Wahagaria.
Gabal.
Gabal.
Wa'ima one.
Wa'ima one.
Wa'ima lak.
Wa'ima
Palashath.
Palashath.
I'm Yeshabya.
I'm Yeshabya.
Tazawar.
Tazawar.
Gam Ashawar.
Gam Ashawar.
Nalawa.
Malawa.
Imam.
Imam.
Ayawa.
Ayawa.
Zarwai.
Zarwai.
Labanya Lawat.
Labanya Lawat.
Salah.
Salah.
Aishalahum.
Aishalahum.
Kamadyan.
Kamad.
Kasaya.
Kasaya.
Sara'ah.
Sara'ah.
Kayabyan.
Kayabyan.
Banakal.
Banahal.
Kwayashwan.
Kayashwan.
Nashamadwa.
Nashamadwa.
Ba'ayan.
Bayan.
Da'ara.
Da'ara.
Hayawa.
Hayawa.
Daman.
Daman.
La'adama.
Ladama.
Shayathamwa.
Shayathamwa.
Nada.
Nada.
Yabmawa.
Yamawa.
Ka'ira.
Ka'ira.
Wakaza Abba.
Wakaza Abba.
Wakaza Bak.
Wakaza Bak.
Wakatazal.
Wakatazal.
Mana'ai.
Mana'ai.
Call.
Call.
Nasayakamwa.
Nasayakamwa.
Ashar.
Ashar.
Amarwa.
Amarwa.
Nayarashah.
Nayarashah.
Lanawa.
Lanawa.
Ath.
Nawawa.
Na'awath. Alahayam.
Alahaya.
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 Shayathamwa.
Shayathamwa.
Kagalgala.
Gargala.
Kakwash. Ira.
Ira.
Ya'ira.
Ya'ira.
Wakalahaba.
Wakalahaba.
Thalahat.
Talahat.
Haryam.
Maryam.
Khan.
Khan.
Tharadapma.
Tawadat.
Basairaka.
Basaira.
Wabasa.
Wabasa.
Wapathka.
Wapaf.
Tabalam.
Tabalam.
Mala'a.
Mala'a.
Panyan.
Banyan.
Kwalawan.
Kwalawan.
Wayabakwashwa.
Wayabakwashwa.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Yabashwa.
Yabashwa.
Wayabahawa.
Wayabahawa.
Ayai.
Ayai.
Wayakaparwa.
Wayakaparwa.
Wayabadwa.
Wayabadwa.
Wayadaiwa.
Wayadaiwa.
Kaya'atha.
Kayata.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Labadka.
Labadka.
Ayawan.
Ayawan.
Alkar.
Alkal.
Alratazah.
Alratazah.
Psalms the 83rd chapter in English. Keep not thou silence, O God.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O God.
And be not still, O God.
For lo,
lo,
thine enemies make a tumult.
Thine enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee have lifted up their
And
head.
they that hate thee have lifted up their head.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
And consulted against thy hidden
And
ones.
consulted against thine hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
Come,
Come,
and let us cut them off from being a
and
nation,
let us cut them off from being a nation.
that the name of Yasharallah
That the name of Yahshua
may be no more remembered.
may be no more remembered.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
They are confederate against
They
thee,
are confederate against thee.
the tabernacles of Edom,
The tabernacles of Edom.
and the Ishmaelites,
And the Ishmaelites.
of Moab,
Of Moab.
and the Hagarenes,
And the Hagarenes.
Gabal,
Gabal.
and Ammon, and Amalek,
And Amalek.
the Philistines,
Philistines.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur also is joined with them.
Assur also joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites,
Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
as to Sisera,
As to Sisera.
as to Jabin,
As to Jabin.
at the brook of
At
Kasan,
the brook of Kasan.
which perished at Endor.
Which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Areb,
Make their nobles like Oreb.
and like Zeeb.
And like Zahab.
Yea,
Yea.
all their princes as Zabah,
All their princes as Zabah.
and as Zamunah,
And as Ammon.
who said,
Who said,
Let us take to ourselves
Let us take to ourselves
the houses of God
the houses of God
in possession.
in possession.
Oh my God,
Oh my God.
make them like a wheel,
Make them like a wheel.
as the stubble before the wind,
As the stubble before the wind.
as the fire burneth the wood,
As the fire burneth the wood.
and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
As the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest,
So persecute them with thy tempest.
and make them afraid with thy storm.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame.
that they may seek thy name.
That they may seek thy name.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh.
let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Yea,
Yea.
let them be put to shame and perish,
Let them be put to shame and perish.
that men may know that thou,
That men may know that thou,
whose name alone
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
are the most high of all the earth.
art the most high over all the earth.
We're going to read the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh,
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shai,
Wa Yahweh Shah.
Wa Ma'aka'Allah,
Wa Ma'aka'Allah.
Wa Lahayim,
Wa Lahayim.
Matazav Yah,
Wa
Alawap Yahana, Halawapyum, Hasaranyum, Hakwatazayanyum, Akayayoyum, Wahagwatin, Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Walaman, in the English. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahushai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General Yahana, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, thank you, so be it. Sorry, while you're shopping, you can turn and be seated. All right, we're going to begin by reading Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. We're going to read the entire chapter, 7 verses at a time, beginning with the Hebrew and alternating between the Hebrew and the English. All right, so we're going to begin in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, beginning in verse 1. Wa Debar Yahweh al Mashallah Amar, verse 2. Debar al Banya Yasha'ala wa Amarath al Alaham wa Aida Yahweh Ashar, the Kwarawa, Atham, Makwarawa, Kodash, Allah Hama wa Aida, verse 3. Shashath, Yamayam, the Aisha, Malakah, Wabayawam, Hashabya Aya, Shabbath, Shabbath 1, Makwarawa, Makwara'a, Kodash, Kal Malakah, La'ath, Asha'aiwa, Shabbath, Hawa'a, La Yahweh, Bakal, Mashabbath, Slaki, Mawa Shabbathikum, verse 4. Allah Mawa Aida, Yahweh, Makwaraya, Kodash, Ashar, Thakwarwa, Atham, Bawa Slaki, Mawa Adim, verse 5. Bakadash, Hara'ash 1, Ba'arabaya, Asherah, Lakadash, Bayan Ha'irabium, Pasak, La Yahweh, verse 6. Wabakamasha, Asherah, Yawam, Lakadash, Hazah, Kaga, Matazawath, La Yahweh, Shaba'aitha, Yamayam, Matazawath, Tha'akawa, verse 7. Bayawam, Hara'ash 1, Makwarawa, Kodash, Yahaya, Lakam, Kal Mala'ak, Malakath, Abadallah, Atha, Sha'aiwa. All right, that was verses 1 through 7 in Hebrew. Read those same 7 verses in English.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. Verse 3. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest.
So normally I would go through the entire chapter, but I do want to break down, before I even read the rest of this chapter, I want to break down this first part, right? Because Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, is the chapter, the one chapter in the Bible that goes over all of the high holy days of the Lord. There's 7 high holy days, including the Sabbath, and including today, which is the Feast of Tabernacles. This is a 7-day feast. All right, there's an opening and a closing. Today is the opening to the Feast of Tabernacles. If you tuned in earlier on our main YouTube page, ISUPK headquarters, online classes live, you'll see that we were in the United Kingdom. Right now, we're in the United Kingdom. A lot of our brothers and sisters travel across the sea to the United Kingdom to have that Feast of Tabernacles collectively. All right, and this is something that, of course, if at all possible, it's always good. Like the scriptures, when we go through this whole 23rd chapter Leviticus, every single high holy day is a holy convocation, meaning that all these brothers and sisters that are in this truth should come together and serve God together and keep these, what the world will call holidays, we call holy days. Keep these things together. All right. The end of verse 2 says, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. We always got to remember, these are the feasts of the Lord. This is not my feast. This isn't the ISUPK's feast. You understand? This is nobody's feast but the Lord. All right. So we always got to make sure that we keep that in mind when we hold these high holy days. All right. You can keep going.
Right. Verse 3. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. Verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. Verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. Verse 6, and on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. Verse 7, in the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
So that was verses 1 through 7 in the English. We'll read 8 through 14 in the Hebrew. Beginning with verse 8. Wakora bathum, Asha la Yahweh Shaba'itha, Yum Yum, by Yawam Hashab Ya'aya, Makora Wa, Makora A, Kodash Ka Malakath, Ibada, La'a Tasha, Slagita Aisha Wa. Verse 9, Waya Debar Yahweh Al Mashal La Amar. Verse 10, Debar Al Banya Yasha Allah Wa Amar Wath, Alaham Kaya Thaba'a Wa, Al Ha'arataza, Ashar, Anya, Nathan Lakam, Wakwatazar Thum, Ath, Kwatazayara, Wahab Bathum, Ath, Imar, Ra'ashai, Slaga Ra'ashiath, Kwatazayar, Kam, Al Kahan, Al Hakahan, verse 11, Wahanayab, Ath Ha'imar, Lapanya Yahweh, Laratazan, Kam, Mamakarath, Hashabath, Yanayap, Nawa, Hakayan, it's like a Hakahan, verse 12. Wa'aisha Yatham, Bayawam, Hanayapkam, Ath Ha'imar, Kabash, Thamayam, Ban Shanath Wa, La'ila, La Yahweh, verse 13. Wamanakathwa, Shanya, Asharanya, Salakin, Salath, Balawaya, Balawala, Bashaman, Asha, La Yahweh, Rayak, Nayakak, Wanasaka, Yayan, Rabbiah Aitha, Hahayan, verse 14, Walakam, Wakwala Ya, Wakaramal, La'a, Tha'akawa, Aid, Aitazam, Hayawam, Haza'a, Aid, Habaya Akam, Ath Kwaraban, Allah, that's like Allah Yakam, Kakwath, Iwalam, Ladarathikam, Bakal, Mashabathikam. So those verses 8 through 14. In the Hebrew, we'll read those same 7 verses in the English.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 8. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. In the 7th day is an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land which I gave unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. Verse 11, and he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. And ye shall offer that day when ye wave the sheaf and he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord. Verse 13, and the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savor. And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the 4th part of an hin. Verse 14, and ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the selfsame day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings.
Another thing I wanted to touch on while we're reading this, once again, we're reading Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, and we're just reading all the way through it. As per tradition of every high holy day, we read the entire 23rd chapter of Leviticus just to get all of the high holy days. So I'm not breaking down each individual high holy day. You will have to come to class on that specific high holy day for that. But I do want to point out something. What we notice with these high holy days is that the scripture says that we have to keep these holy days in all of our dwellings and all of our generations. Some people will try to make the excuse, well, we don't live in the land of Israel no more, so we can't keep these laws. That's just not true, because the Most High said right here, when he gave this law to Moses, he said, deliver this to the children of Israel that they may keep these feast days in all of their dwellings. I don't give a damn if you live in the sewer system in New York. You got to keep these high holy days, and that's just what the Bible says. You understand? So another thing also that it says is in all your generations. A lot of people say that the law is done away with, but we read this Bible and figure out that the Lord doesn't change. Malachi 3:6 says that the Most High doesn't change. So if that's the case, when he said in all your generations forever, then that means forever. So I just wanted to point that out. Like I said, we'll go through the entire chapter and then we'll break down the Feast of Tabernacles. So we're going to read verse 15 through 21 in the Hebrew. Verse 15, Wasapartham, Lakam, Mamakarath, Hashabath, Mawayam, Slaki Mayawam, Habaya Akam, Ath, Imar, Hathanawapa, Shabbai, Shabbath Wath, Thamayamath, Thahayana. Verse 16, I Mamakarath, Hashabath, Hashabaya Aitha, Thasaparwa, Kamashyam, Yawam, Wakorabtham, Manakha, Kadasha, La Yahweh, verse 17, Mamashawa Bathikam, Thabaya'a, Walakam, Thanawapa, Shathayam, Shanya, Asharanyam, Salath, Thahayana, Kamataza, Thapayana, Bakawarium, La Yahweh, verse 18, Wakorabatham, Al, Halakam, Shaba'aitha, Kabasham, Thamayama, Banya, Shana, Wapar, Ban Bakwar Akkad, Walahayam, Shanyam, Yahaya, Wa, Allah, La Yahweh, Wamanakatham, Wanasakiham, Asha, Rayak, Naikak, La Yahweh, verse 19, Wa Ashayatham, Shayar, Azayam, Akkad, Lakatath, Washanya, Kabasham, Banya, Shana, Lazabak, Shalamyam, verse 20. Verse 20. Wahayanap, Wahanayap, Pakahan, Atham, Alakam, Habakawarium, Thanawapa, Lapanya, Yahweh, Al-Shanya, Kabasham, Kodash, Yahayawa, La Yahweh, Lakahan, verse 21. Makoratham, Ba'itazam, Hayawam, Hazah, Makora, Kodash, Yahaya, Lakam, Kal Malakath, Abadah, La'ah, Tha'aishawa, Kakwath, Iwalam, Bakal, Salaki, Mawashabathikam, Ladarathikam. That was verses 15 through 21. We'll read those in English.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15. And you shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days. And ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. Ye shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2 tenth deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baken with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Lord. And ye shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 young bullock, and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto the Lord, with their meat offering and their drink offerings, and even made by fire of sweet savor unto the Lord. Verse 19, then ye shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before the Lord, with the 2 lambs. They shall be holy to the Lord for the priest. Verse 21, and ye shall proclaim on the selfsame day that it may be a holy convocation unto you. Ye shall do no servile work therein. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations.
All right, so we're going to read the next 7 verses in the Hebrew. So that'll be verses 22 through 28, beginning with verse 22. Ubakwatazar kum, Ath, Kwatazayar, Aratazar kum, La'a, Thakala, Pa'ath, Shadaka, Bakwatazar, Bakwatazar ka, Walakwat, Kwatazayar ka, La'a, Thalakwat, La'aniya, Walagar, Tha'izab, Athum, Anya, Yahweh, Allah, Yakam, Waya Debar, it's like in verse 23, Waya Debar, Yahweh al Mashallah Amar, verse 24, Debar al Banya Yasha Allah Amar, Bakadash, Hashab Ya'aya, Ba'aka, Lakadash, Yahya, Lakam, Shabbath 1, Zakar 1, Thara Makorah, Kodash, verse 25, Kal Malakath, Ibadah, La'ath, Ta'aishawa, Korabatham, Asha, it's like Asha, La Yahweh, verse 26, Waya Debar Yahweh al Mashallah Amar, verse 27, Agba Aishawar, Lakadash, Hashab Ya'aya, Hazaha, Yawam Hakaparyum, Hawa'a, Makorawa, it's like a Makora'a, Kodash, Yahya, Lakam, Wa'anathiyam, Ath, Napashathikam, Wakora, it's like Wakorab Thumb, Ashala Yahweh, verse 28, Wakar Malaka, La'a Tha'aisha Wa, it's like Tha'aisha Wa, Ba'itazam, Hayawam, Hazaha, Kaya Yawam, Kaparyum, Hawa'a, La Kapar Al Yakam, Lapanya Yahweh Allah Yakam. All right, Allah Hayakam. So like it. That was verses 22 through 28. We'll read those in English.
Leviticus 23, verses 20 through 28. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest, neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest. Thou shalt leave them unto the poor and to the stranger. I am the Lord your God.
One thing I also like to point out when we talk about these high holy days, in this Feast of First Fruits that this is describing right now, this is another feast that we did previous to this one, right? We keep it every year, like the scriptures say. Part of this feast, if we was in our own land and we had our own crops and we was growing on our own farms, part of this feast is for us to, when we reap the first fruits of our field, all of the gleaning, meaning let's just say you got an apple tree, right? All of the apples that just fall off of the tree by themselves, mean you didn't pick those, you leave those, so that way the stranger or the sojourner, you understand, or the poor that walks by your field, they can come and pick that up. You understand? They can come on your property, pick that up, and that's for them. That's just part of the charity that's in the spirit of the Most High. A lot of times people will say, well, God is in Christmas because the spirit of Christmas is giving. But the spirit of Christmas is actually selfishness. You understand? And that's why the all-time highest part of the year for, can I say suicide? I'm going to say it anyway, I guess. It wasn't on the list. So like,
we're not on TikTok.
Okay, we're not on TikTok. You understand? One of the highest suicide rates of all year is Christmas time, because Christmas time is one of the most selfish, dark times of the year, and people try to paint it with a pretty brush, but in all actuality, the kid that doesn't get the new sneakers on Christmas, he's going to get laughed at, he's going to get roasted, and he's going to cry himself to sleep. He's going to think his parents don't love him. You understand? In all actuality, the high holy days of this Bible are the true, so what people would call holidays in the American tongue. You understand? Days to be happy, days to rejoice over. I mean, what better statute in a holiday than for you to be ordered to give to the poor? You understand? What you have, give to the poor. Like, that's part of this feast that we're reading about in this specific verse. You understand? So I just wanted to, I always try to highlight that, because that's true brotherhood. The Most High always highlights charity within all of his laws, statutes, and commandments. All right, we can keep going.
Verse 23, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall you have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing trumpets and holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you. and ye shall afflict your souls,
Mm-hmm.
and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Verse 28.
And if I could, real quick, and that's something. That's what we this section that we reading about right here. This is what I like to call like the high holy day season, right? Because you have you have your first fruits, you have your memorial of the blowing the trumpets, you have your Day of Atonement. There's other feasts that aren't outlined in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, which is called, we would call them like civil holy days or civil days, which would be like your feast of dedication, which you find in the book of First Maccabees. That's something that also happens around this same time. So this is like our feast season, right? We got a lot of feasts coming around this time. We just celebrated the the Day of Atonement and the Memorial of the Blowing the Trumpets. It was damn near back to back, and here we are, the Feast of Tabernacles, right? Keep going.
Right. Verse 28. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God.
All right, so now we're going to read verses 29 through 36 in the Hebrew, beginning with verse. Ba'itazam hayuwam hazah wanakaratha ma'im yaha wakar hanapa shashar thaisha kar malaka ba'itazam hayuwam hazah waha abadathia ath hanapash hahawa'a makopa imha. Verse 31. Kar malaka la'a thashaiwa tha'aishawa kakhwath Iwalam la darathicum bakar mashabathicum. Verse 32. Shabbath 1. Hawa'a lakam wa inathiyum ath napash slaki napashathicum slaki bathashai lakadash ba'irab ma'irab Id irab thashabathwa Shabbath come. Verse 33. Wa debar Yahweh amashala amar. Verse 34. Debar abanya yasha Allah amar bakamasha asha aishara yawam lakadash hashabiaya hazah chaga hasakawath shabaitha yamayam la Yahweh. Verse 35. Bayawam hara'ashwan makara kodash kal malakath abadah la'a ta'aishawa. Verse 36. Shabaitha yamayam Yabwa Asha La Yahweh Bayawam Hasham Yanya Makora I'm slugging Makora Kodash Yahaya Lakam Wakora Batham Asha La Yahweh Atazarath Awa'a Kal Malakath Abudah La'a Ta'aishawa. All right, that was verses 29 through 36. We'll read those in English.
Leviticus chapter 23, verses 29. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in the same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Verse 31. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. In the 9th day of the month from even unto even, shall ye celebrate your Sabbath. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And on the first day shall be a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 36. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you. And ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein.
So that's the feast that we're in today, right? Today is the opening of the Feast of Tabernacles. Like I said earlier, like we just read, the Feast of Tabernacles is a 7-day long feast, right? So today, as we know, per the book of Genesis, a day starts at sundown, right? So sundown today is the beginning or the opening of the Feast of Tabernacles. Next Saturday night, or at sundown on next Saturday, that will be the closing. That's when we'll have another service just like this, and we'll close out. We'll have food and all of that. The opening and the closing are the two solemn assemblies, meaning we gather together on the opening and the closing. And that's, of course, why you see us going live right now, streaming, having a live class. But for the entire 7 days, we make an offering made by fire unto the Lord. That just means that we sup or eat every day of this feast, right? For 7 days. Sup. Sup. Yeah. That's biblical time. No, come on, man. Don't do that to me. All right. So we, meaning we eat with each other, right? We eat with each other for 7 days. The first, which is the opening, and the last, which is the closing. The first and the 7th day are the solemn assemblies when we gather together. All right. And I'll break down the Feast of Tabernacles and what it represents after we get through this chapter, and kind of bring some clarity. I think a lot of people don't understand what the Feast of Tabernacles is actually about. I know you see some groups of people, they'll go out in tents and go, camping for 7 days. And that's not necessarily what this feast is about. We'll talk about it, right? Let's get through this chapter, and then we'll bring this all out and get a good understanding of what this feast is about. So we'll finish off. We're going to read verses 37 through verse 42. So we get into verse 37. Allah mawa'ayya, Yahweh ashar, thakarawa, Atham, Makwariya, Kodash, Lakwayarab, Kwayab, Ashah, La Yahweh, Allah, Wamanaka, Zabak, Wanasakyam, Debar, Yawam, Bayawamya, Bayawamwa, verse 38. Malabad, Shabbath Aith, it's like a Shabbath Wath, Yahweh, Wamalabad, Mathanwath, Yakam, Wamalabad call, Nadar Yakam, Wamalabad call, Nabad, it's like in Nadab Wath, Yakam, Ashar, Thathanwa, La Yahweh, verse 39. Agbakamasha, Ashar, it's like Ashar, Yawam, Lakadash, Hashab Ya'aya, Ba'asa, Ha'arataza, Thakagawath, Kaga Yahweh, Shabbaitha, Yamayam, Bayawam, Hara'ash 1, Shabbath 1, it's like a Shabbath 1, or Bayawam, Hasham Shamanya, Shabbath 1, verse 40, Walakwakatham, Lakam, Bayawam, Hara'ash 1, Paraya, Aitazah, Hadar, Kapath, Thamaryam, Wainab, Aitazah, Ibath, Wairabia, Nakal, Washlaki, Washamakatham, Lapanya, Yahweh, Allah Yala, it's like Allah Yakam, Shabbaitha, Yam Yam, verse 41, Wakagatham, Athwa, Kaga, La Yahweh, Shabbaitha, Yamayam, Bashana, Kakwath, Awalam, La Darath, Yakam, Bakadash, Hashab Ya'aya, Thakagawa, Athwa, verse 42, Basakath, Shabwa, Shabbaitha, Yamayam Ka, Azarak, Bayasharalam, Yeshab, it's like Yeshabwa, Basakath. So that was verses 36 through 42. 37 through 42.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 37. These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice, and drink offerings, everything upon his day. Beside the Sabbaths of the Lord, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings, which ye give unto the Lord.
Right. So just to understand something, these high holy days are separate from, let's just say, if you want to make an offering or an atonement aside from this. An atonement could be a prayer. You could fast for the Most High any day. You don't have to keep the day of, or have to keep the Day of Atonement, but that doesn't have to be the only atonement that you make for the Most High. You can fast any day. You understand? The scriptures say healing comes through fasting and prayer. You understand? Christ fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. You understand? So beside your free will offerings, whatever you want to freely offer to the Most High, these are days that you must observe. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about these things. You understand? And that's when you must come together. That's why they calls it a holy convocation. You come together with your brothers and sisters, you eat together, you drink together, and that's your offering unto the Most High. Keep going.
Okay. Verse 39. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook. And ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths.
And once again, we'll break this down in just a second. We got 2 more verses to get through, and then we'll break this down. So just so y'all can understand, though, the order from the Most High at this time, Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, is for the Israelites. All Israelites born, meaning all blood Israelites, are to dwell in booths, or like what you would consider tents today, for those 7 days. All right. Like I said, we'll break that down in just a second. We got 2 more verses to get to. So verses 43 and 44, I'm gonna read those in Hebrew. 43, Lama Ayin Yadaiwa, Darathikam, Kaya Basakawath, Hamashabathya, Ath Banya Yasharala, Bahawataza Ya, Awatham, Ma'arataza, Matazaryam, Anya, Yahweh Allah Yakam. Verse 44, Waya Debar Masha Ath Ma'agya, Yahweh Al Banya Yasharala. Last 2 verses, 43 and 44 in English.
Gotcha. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 43. That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feasts of the Lord.
So now let's understand something real quick. If you could pull for me real quick, Nehemiah, the 8th chapter, just so we can understand something. Okay. There's symbology or symbolism in what the Most High is ordering us to do. All right, we just read, in verse 43. We'll start at verse 42. It says, "You shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that the Israelites born shall dwell in booths." Talking about the Feast of Tabernacles. This 7 days, the Lord is ordering us to dwell in booths or in tents. Verse 43 says that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. All this is, what this is symbolism for the Most High to remind us, generation after generation, how he humbled us after we came out of the land of Egypt. The Most High brought us out of the land of Egypt from our oppression, humbled us along the way while we was gaining our land. I'm gonna show y'all something. Let me get Nehemiah, the 8th chapter, and verse 14. If anybody knows it, if anybody knows about the time of Nehemiah, right? It was a time when heathens, meaning other nations of people that were not Israelites. They had corrupted a lot of the children of Israel. It was a lot of mixing going on, meaning interracial marriage. It was a lot of that going on that was it was diluting the seed line, the royal seed line. I won't say the holy seed line of Israel, and it was causing a lot of like the scriptures say in the book of Nehemiah, that people were forgetting how to speak Hebrew. Some of these brothers and sisters' children couldn't speak Hebrew, the language that the Most High gave us. Why? Because the other nations had so much influence on us. So during the time of Nehemiah was a brother that was trying to get us back to the law. He was trying to get us away from. Nehemiah was a hardcore brother. Nehemiah, he went and grabbed brothers by their beards and threw them across the goddamn place. Told them, "Hey, look, you're gonna put that woman out. That woman is a heathen. You're not to deal with her. You're gonna put away them children that you had with that woman. You're gonna start fresh. We're gonna make this holy bloodline holy again, because you've watered it down with these heathens. You've allowed them to put their influence on our children. Now they don't even know how to speak our language. They don't know what our customs are. They don't know what the law is. It's the same thing that's happening here in America, right? We've been watered down by American society that now we think that American society is normal. I had to talk to one of my boys the other day about how America, when they play basketball, it's like normal for them to play in shirts and skins. Like when they scrimmage, you understand? Not realizing that one, the scriptures talk about the fact that you're not allowed to show your nakedness, right? Now, I had to explain to him, America makes it seem normal for you to be a 13-year-old boy with your chest out, your stomach out in front of all these grown men. In all reality, when you go back into the Roman customs where all of these football, baseball, basketball, all of that comes from, track and field, all of that, it comes from Roman customs. They used to do all of that stuff naked. They used to play sports naked. They used to wrestle naked. That comes from Roman customs. Now, why do they do it with these kids so much? There's I forget what the word, pederasty. Romans were very heavily involved in pederasty. Pederasty is having child servants, sex servants. That's all I can really say. Exactly, right. Where that grown adult male, and it's a male, it's not ever a woman or anything like that, and it's not ever a girl, it's a boy, a man and a boy. That man is basically mentoring that boy on how to be a damn sex toy. And they would have him running around with his shirt off. See, America makes you being a child playing in in football or in basketball with your shirt off. I mean, that's just normal to y'all. That's why it's normal for brothers and sisters to get in the pool without a shirt on. These sisters be naked in the damn water. You know what I mean? But it's normal in America. The problem is that America has made it normal to you when our customs are completely different from America. That's why the scriptures call America Babylon the Great, because this place is the daughter of Babylon, the whore that sits upon many waters. This place is not for us. And so I'm going to show y'all something that Nehemiah did. Nehemiah was a wise brother that said the same thing that America's doing right now, influencing our children, influencing our women, influencing our brothers to be drug dealers and to be whoremongers, influence our women to be whores and our daughters to be whores and our young brothers to be whoremongers. Nehemiah saw that same thing, and we're gonna understand what he did to reconcile that and to make a change, right? I'll read it. So Nehemiah, the 8th chapter, verse 14 says, "And they found written in the law, which the Most High had commanded by Moses, that the children of Israel should dwell in booths in the feast of the 7th month." This is talking about the Feast of Tabernacles. And what it's saying is Nehemiah and other prophets at the time came together and they read in these scrolls, in these holy scrolls, in the book of Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, where the Most High commanded us to dwell in booths for 7 days in the 7th month, right? You got that for me? Verse 8 and 15.
Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 15.
15 now, come.
Verse 15. "And that they should publish and proclaim in all their cities and in Jerusalem, saying, Go forth unto the mount and fetch olive branches and pine branches and myrtle branches and palm branches and branches of thick trees to make booths, as it is written."
Right. So now Nehemiah got together with the other judges in Israel and he said, "Hey, look, this is what the scriptures say we're going to do. We haven't done this in 900 years, since the time of Joshua. From the time of Joshua all the way to the time of Nehemiah, for 900 years, they had kept the Feast of Tabernacles. They just hadn't kept it in booths. What Nehemiah recognized was that these brothers and sisters had been so far removed from their culture that they needed to be snapped back into reality. That's why, once again, we could read where Nehemiah grabbing brothers by their beard. I might have been safe because I ain't got nothing up here. You understand? He might grab me by my braids or something like that. He gonna snatch me. He gonna give me some out. You know, the point being, right, is he was getting violent with brothers because he was so fervent. He had such a fervent zeal to get his brothers and sisters back to where they were supposed to be and keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? So part of that, right, he's going into this law and he's saying, hey, we need to go back to doing it the same way. Y'all need to be humble the same way that we was humble coming out of Egypt. We came out of Egypt and we was complaining the whole 40 years. And so, you know, with the Most High, when he gave us this law, he said, look, I'm going to humble you even more. You're going to dwell in booths. You understand? You're going to dwell in booths for 7 days straight. Now, I'm reading this to show y'all this ain't no camping trip, man. This ain't what you'll see some other groups going to do. They'll go out and they bring their boat out and they set their tents up and living good for 7 days. Electricity plugged in, and they got their coffee mugs and everything. Listen, that's not what this is about. This isn't about having a 7-day long camping trip. You understand? Remember, in Leviticus 23, when he explained why he did this, verse 43 says that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. All this is a remembrance of how the Most High humbled us when we came out of Egypt. And now Nehemiah is looking at these brothers and sisters and saying, hey, we need to get back to this, because since the time of Joshua, we haven't been in these booths. So let's keep reading. Let's get verse 16.
Verse 16. So the people went forth and brought them, and made themselves booths, every one upon the roof of his house, and in their courts, and in the courts of the house of God, and in the street of the water gate, and in the street of the gate of Ephraim.
So what's the reason why they're doing this? This is just a remembrance. You understand? Once again, this is all the symbolism of humility that the Most High put us through. So that's why they're doing this. That's why they're what the scriptures call rehearsing the righteous acts, right? Verse 17. You got it, of course. Yeah,
if I could. And what's so important about this is it's, like you said, it's a snap back into reality. So quickly, you're hanging around heathen nations, people of other cultures and other, ancestral patterns or whatever, and you get so absorbed and wrapped around what they have, and you forget about where you are and where your people are.
Exactly.
And that's what you need to remember. While you're here, you're not even supposed to be here.
Right.
You're not supposed to be underneath or even side by side another nation. Right. You're supposed to be, as God appointed you, on top in your own nation, in your own land. Right. But you're here because you are held captive. Right. And you got comfortable, and now you've forgotten, because you got a little bit of amenities. You got a roof. You got a nice roof over your head. You got some AC. You don't have to. You live in a shack or a hut anymore. You got a little bit. You can. You got a cell phone. It has the internet. You can be entertained at any moment of the day. But really, what you should hold on to is the tradition, and hold on to what real freedom is. What real freedom requires, and it requires a little bit of hardship. Right. It requires a little bit of hardship. Are you willing to live in a tent for a little while? Live in a makeshift hut on the go? Right. That is what it will require. Again, soon enough. So
right. No, exactly. And y'all gotta understand something about the time of Nehemiah too. This was in the time of the Persian captivity, under the captivity of the Persians and the Medes. I love the book of Nehemiah because it's a lot of history in it. And what you just brought out was so heavy. On top of that, Nehemiah also had to make the declaration that we don't buy and sell on the Sabbath, because the Persians and the Medes, they saw us on the Sabbath keeping our holy Sabbath day where we don't work. You understand? We observe, we come to class, we come to the temple, and they thought to infiltrate that and make what's the word make merchandise out of us. That's the perfect term, right? To make merchandise out of us. So they would come to where we at, and they would try to sell us things, and they would try to, basically make us buy on the Sabbath. And the whole spirit behind that is the same way in America right now. Every Saturday, your boss, your employer, he's going to make you come in on Saturday. You understand? There's going to be something that you have to do that's going to go against what God told, like the scriptures tell you not to work on the Sabbath, right? So if that's the case, what does it also tell you? The scriptures also tell you that you can't have your servant work for you either, right? So technically, you shouldn't even be able to go to a McDonald's, because shouldn't nobody be in the window. You get what I mean? Shouldn't be nobody serving you on the Sabbath. But the way that America has this place set up, they'll close Chick-fil-A on Sunday, but everything's open on Saturday, right? And that's just the way that it was at the time of Nehemiah, which is why I love this book so much, and why I always like to come here when we talk about the Feast of Tabernacles, because he saw what was happening and he said, we need to get back to this. We need to get back to when the Most High humbled us coming out of the land of Egypt. And he was a righteous brother for doing that, right? Let's keep reading. Salaki.
Verse 16. So the people went forth and brought them, and made themselves booths. Verse 17. And all the congregation of them that were come again out of the captivity made booths, and sat under the booths. And since the days of Joshua, the son of Nun, unto the day had not the children of Israel done so. And there was very great gladness.
That's 900 years. Now, right. And what we also have to understand about this, you see that we not like, I don't have a tent in my backyard right now. Y'all got to understand something. David, Solomon, Elijah, Elisha, all of the prophets between that 900 period span, they all kept the Feast of Tabernacles, but you didn't see them pitch a tent in their backyard. You have to understand something, that this is a spiritual thing. These cats that's out here pitching these tents in their backyard or going out on these camping trips, they don't understand the spirit of this law. They don't. And that's why you see them doing that. It's the same thing. Like, remember, that's why Christ had to come on the scene, is to give you the spirit of the law. Because if we kept the letter of the law, we've had these conversations. If you kept the law to the letter without having the spirit of the Most High on you, you're going to go outside and you're going to kill that crack addict. You're just going to go outside and you're going to slit his throat. Or you're going to start stoning him to death, because you can't be a witchcraft. A witch must be surely put to death. Ain't that what the scriptures say?
Right.
You cannot, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. The drug dealer that come and sell these fentanyl pills, he's a witch. He's at his crib pressing them fentanyl pills. That's witchcraft. Well, according to the letter of the law, we should go out and we should stone that nigga to death. Now, the spirit of the law tells us to do what? To go and win that brother over. Hey, brother, what are you doing? Instead of doing that to make your little $5, $6, you should come into this truth, and you'll have your treasures laid up for you in the kingdom of heaven. Like, that's the spirit of the law. If we just went by the letter of the law, all of us would be dead. Every single one of us in here. I'm calling it. You understand? That's why the spirit is so important. So now, why did I bring this out? We're about to close in just a second. Why did I bring this out? Why did I go to Nehemiah, the 8th chapter? He had to bring these brothers and sisters back to the humility that they had when they was brought out of Egypt. And that's the same thing that we're doing here. You understand? Without the tents and without the booths, it's a remembrance of what the Lord did. And today, that's what we're doing. We're going to remember how the Lord humbled us as he brought us out of the land of Egypt. We have to cleanse ourselves. Like, we have to come out of the mindset of Egypt. Like, we had to do that back then, and we got to do it today. Back then, we had to cleanse ourselves of the disgust. Like a lot of the laws that you see about how a man can't shape his beard up real nice and pretty, or get that chalk line haircut, that hairline, you understand, is because the scriptures say you can't do that, because those were Egyptian customs. You understand? You can't bald your face and bald your head, because the scriptures say that those were Egyptian customs. We don't want anything to do with them. The Lord made a lot of the laws that you see in here that don't make too much sense to you. It was to separate us from the other nations, so that way we would be a holy, or what the scriptures say is separate people. And so the same thing, we have to look at the spirit behind the reason why the Lord has given us these. Stand in this in the book of Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, and there's a spirit behind all of them. We just did the Day of Atonement where we fasted, no drink, no water for 24 hours, right? And there's a spirit behind that. What are you willing to give up for the Lord who gave everything for you? There's a spirit behind the blowing of the trumpets. We just did the class on that a few weeks ago. There's a spirit behind the Feast of First Fruits. That was that feast that I was talking about, where you allow that gleaning of the grapes and all of the apples and all of your crops, all that stuff that fall down, man, you get that to the poor. Let them come and get that. There's a spirit of charity on that high holy day. There's a spirit on all of these holy days, and we have to tap into those things instead of tapping into the spirit of Halloween, which is coming up, the spirit of Thanksgiving, which is coming up, which is the spirit of murder, the spirit of greed and selfishness, which is on the spirit of Christmas.
Right.
You understand? The spirit of whoredom, which is on the spirit of New Year. All of that. There's a spirit on all of the holidays in America, and then there's a spirit on the holidays or high holy days in this Bible. And you got to be able to decipher which one is going to benefit you. I done been through a lot of New Year's in my life, and did not near one of them benefit me at all. I woke up every morning hungover. You understand? I got myself into some terrible situations every New Year. You understand? A lot of these kids is dying from these with the drugs they putting in these candies come Halloween. It's getting worse every year.
Right.
Back when I was younger, they used to have to take the Halloween candies and get a hammer and break them up to make sure there ain't no needles. Why the hell are you going through that. You get what I mean? Go ahead, you got it.
Yeah, if I could, drug addicts are getting younger and younger.
Right, for sure.
See kids younger than me. I'm in my 20s, late 20s, and I'm having to talk to children to get them off of crack.
Right.
They're 18-year-old kids, you know what I mean? And that is because of what you believe. You Christians believe in what you promote.
Right.
You promote these terrible so-called holidays to your children, telling them that excess is good and all this wanting and gain is good, when really what they need is some goddamn manners and morality. Excuse me. You know what I mean? Some manners and morality. That's what God teaches and God gives. If you gave them what the Bible was teaching, I wouldn't have to tell your 18-year-old son to stop smoking fentanyl. Right. You know what I mean? But now it's gotten so bad, and you still believe it. You still want to believe because you don't want to go through the real hardship of gaining true freedom. Right. You don't want to have to turn your back on your oppressor. Right. You don't want to have to stop loving him. Right. You don't want to have to stop taking his handouts and making something for yourself. So your son and your daughter is going to be a drug addict. Right. They're going to walk this street at 16. They're going to starve, and they're going to live the next 30 years of their life like that until, God knows what happens to them. You know what I mean? This is how bad it's gotten. And because we don't think communally anymore like we used to, like right here in that story you just read in Nehemiah, those were one people. Right. One people with one decision, knowing what's best. Right. At the end it said, and there was very did wrong. My own kid don't speak what I spoke. Right. He doesn't speak the language that our fathers have been speaking for hundreds of years. Right. Because of a decision I made. They turned back, made the right decision. When are we gonna do it? Right. When are we gonna do it? It's a lot. And we got to learn from the decisions that our forefathers made, both good and bad. This was an excellent decision, and the product of this decision is given in the story. It says, and there was very great gladness. Right. Like that's when we come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. No longer, around the time of Christmas is there going to be the highest suicide rate of the year. Around the time of so-called Christmas, we have the Feast of Dedication, which is one of the gladdest times of the year for us. You understand? When we redecorate the temple and redecorate our school and we come together, like when we let go of our oppressors' customs and we hold on to ours, we grasp hold of these things that was written aforetime for our learning. That's when we come into the knowledge of what it's like to be truly happy. Like everybody's so focused on happiness. That's why they celebrate Christmas every year. That feeling that you had when you was a 5-year-old and you woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, waking your parents up yelling, "Hey, it's Christmas, I want my gifts." That feeling you chase for the rest of your life and you never get it again. But there's something that gives you true happiness in coming home to the Lord and truly celebrating the high holy days that the Lord wants you to celebrate. Like being in the truth and doing what you're supposed to do. The Lord will give you what you need. I wanted to bring, we kind of getting a little close. I wanted one more scripture. You know what? I gotta save some of this for the closing anyway. Yeah, I gotta save some of this for the closing anyway. So make sure y'all tap back in next Saturday. Next Saturday evening, we'll be having the closing. So with that being said, I gotta close out with these prayers. So I imagine, which means to stand. Hanyak with done, which means to turn and face the east. All right, we're gonna close out beginning with the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayah, Wadash, Ayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwatka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Ayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Ayah, Bashamayah, Nathalanawa, Lakam, Kayawam, Asalakanawa, Kawathnawa, Kasalagnawa, Kawathinawa, Wala'ah, Tabayanawa, Wanasai 1, Abal, Awashanawa, Mayan, Raikaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wa'ala, Wathapara, Laiwalamyam, Aman. In English. Our Father, Our Father,
which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. The Akak of the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushai. Baruch Kashah. Athalan Awa Akak. Akak L'Rapa'ah. Akal Maka'ala. Wakal Madawa. Akal Latahar. Amat Azariah. Akal Lakwayam. Amathiel. Akak. Al-Rakawa. Atamahala. Lagar Shun. Ba'ashem Yahushai. Walaman. In English.
In English, Yahweh, shall please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
The power to heal all manner of sickness.
The power to heal all manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
And all manner of disease.
And the power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean spirits.
To cast them out.
To cast them out.
In the name of Yahushai.
In the name of Yahushai.
Thank you. So be it.
Thank you. So be it. All right, we're going to read Psalms 121st chapter in Hebrew. Asha'ah. Ayanya. Ahaharya. Mayan. Yaba'ah. Isaiah. Ma'aim. Yahweh. Ashah. Shamayam. Waratazah. Ayathan. Lamawat. Regalka. Ayanawam. Shamarka. Anah. La'ah. Yanawam. Wala'ah. Yayashan. Shamar. Yashala. Yahweh. Shamarka. Yahweh. Tazalka. Al-Yad. Yanyanka. Yawamam. Hashamat. La'ah. Yakaka. Wayarak. Alayallah. Yahweh. Yashamarka. Kalra. Yashamar. Napashka. Yahweh. Yashamar. Tazaathka. Ba. It's like a waka. Maitha. Why? Awalam.
In the English, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord. Which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out, and thy coming in, from this time forth, and even forevermore.
We're going to read Psalms, the 83rd chapter in Hebrew. Alahayo. Adamayalaka. All Thakaraj. All Tashakwat. All Kayahana. Awayabika. Yamaya 1. Ra'ash. Alamaka. Ariyamwa. Sawada. Wayatha. Yaitazawa. Altazapawanyaka. Amarwa. Lakawa. Wanakagidam. I would die. Kaya. Nawaitazawa. Laba. Yakadwa. Al-Yaka. Baryat. Yakarathwa. Ahawya. Adawam. Wayashamaalia. Nawaba. Wagarya. Gabal. Waimalak. Halasha. I'm Yeshabya. Tazawar. Gamashawar. Nalawa. Imam. Nayawa. Sarawai. Labanilawat. Salah. Shalaham. Kamadya. Kasaya. Sara'ah. Kayabyan. Banakal. Kwayaswan. Nasamadwa. Bayan. Da'ara. Ayawa. Daman. Adama.
Adama. Shayathamwa.
Nadab.
Nadab.
Yabmawa.
Yabmawa.
Kaira.
Kaira.
Kazaba.
Wakazaba.
Kazabak.
Wakazabak.
Kazazol.
Wakazazol.
Manai.
Manai.
Call.
Call.
Sayakamwa.
Sayakamwa.
Ashar.
Ashar.
Amarwa.
Amarwa.
Yarashah.
Yarashah.
Lanawa.
Lanawa.
Nawat.
Nawat.
Alahayim.
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 Shayathamwa.
Shayathamwa.
Kagogala.
Kagogala.
Kakwash.
Kakwash.
Lapanya Rakah.
Lapanya Rakah.
Ka'ash.
Ka'ash.
Tabaira.
Tabaira.
Ya'ira.
Ya'ira.
Kalahaba.
Kalahaba.
Talahat.
Talahat.
Aryam.
Aryam.
Khan.
Khan.
Taradapma.
Taradapma.
Asairaka.
Asairaka.
Abasa.
Abasa.
Wapaka.
Wapaka.
Tabalam.
Tabalam.
Mala'a.
Mala'a.
Panyaham.
Panyaham.
Kwalawan.
Kwalawan.
Wayabakwashwa.
Wayabakwashwa.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Yabashwa.
Yabashwa.
Panyaham.
Panyaham.
Wayabahawa.
Wayabahawa.
Ayai.
Ayai.
Wayakaparwa.
Wayapaparwa.
Wayabadwa.
Wayabadwa.
Wayadaiwa.
Wayadaiwa.
Kayatha.
Kayatha.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Labadka.
Labadka.
Ayawan.
Ayawan.
Alkal.
Alkal.
Arataza.
Arataza. In English, keep not thou silence, O God.
Keep not thou silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O God.
And be not still, O God.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
Thine enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
They that hate thee have lifted up their head.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
And consulted against thy hidden
And
ones.
consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
Come,
Come.
and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let us cut them off from being a nation.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
That the name of Israel may be no more remembered.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
For
They are consulted together with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
And the Ishmaelites
And the Ishmaelites.
of Moab.
Of Moab.
And the Hagarenes.
And the Hagarenes.
Gobal.
Gobal.
And Ammon.
And Ammon.
And Amalek.
And Amalek.
The Philistines. With the inhabitants of Tyre.
The inhabitants of Tyre.
A sword also is joined with them.
So also joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
As to Sisera.
As to Sisera.
As to Jabez.
As to Jabez.
At the book of Kisan.
The book of Psalms.
Which perished and endured.
Which perished and endured.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb.
Make their nobles like a ram.
And like Zeed.
And like Zeed.
Yea.
Yea.
All their princes as Zabah.
All the princes of God.
And as Zalmunna.
And Zalmunna.
Who said, let us take to ourselves
Let's take to ourselves
the houses of God
the houses of God
in possession.
in possession.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Make them like a wheel.
Make them like a wheel.
As the stubble before the wind.
As the stubble before the wind.
As the fire burneth the wood.
As the fire burns the wood.
And as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
And as the flames set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest.
So persecute them with thy tempest.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
And make them afraid by sword.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
That they may seek thy name.
That they may seek thy name.
O Lord.
O Lord.
Let them be confounded and troubled forever.
Let them be confounded and troubled forever.
Yea.
Yea.
Let them be put to shame and perish.
Let them be put to shame and perish.
That men may know that thou,
And they may know that thou,
whose name alone
Whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the most high over all the earth.
are the most high over all the earth.
All right, we're going to read the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Why Yahweh Shai.
Why Yahweh Shai.
Why Ma'akala.
Why Ma'akala.
Why Lahayim.
Why Lahayim.
Watazav Ya'ah.
Watazav Ya'ah.
Hala Wab Yahana.
Hala Wab Yahana.
Hala Slaki Hala Wapyam.
Hala Wapyam.
Hasaranyam.
Hasaranyam.
Hakotazayanyam.
Hakotazayanyam.
Hakayayayam.
Hakayayayam.
Wahagwatim.
Wahagwatim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Hashem Yahweh Shai.
Hashem Yahweh Shai.
Waraman.
Waraman. In the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angel.
And the angel.
Commanding General Yohana.
Commanding General Yohana.
The generals.
The generals.
The captains.
The captains.
The officers.
The
troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Sorry while you're shopping. We can be seated. We're going to close out with a salute. Men of Israel, I imagine. Stand. Sisters can be seated. We're going to give each other a courtesy salute to salute out the opening of the Feast of Tabernacles, men of Israel. Amadu Shabbat, Amadu, Barak, Side towards the sister. Sister, you can stand. Amadu. We're going to give a sister a courtesy salute to salute out the opening to the Feast of Tabernacles. Right over left. All right, men of Israel, Amadu Shabbat, Amadu, Barak,
Yahweh Shema Allah Hashem Yahushai. Now you say Yahweh Shema Allah Hashem Yahushai. That just means God, please shield, protects these watchers. Watch over us.
With that being said, men of Israel, Yadu Matah, we're dismissed.
Praise.